So at the beginning of the show, I was talking about this conversation that I had with my acupuncturist. And I will share with you that I go to this acupuncturist not for physical things, but for spiritual things. And I started out going to her for a physical thing, but it evolved because I started out going to her for this cough that I had 2 years ago that I'd had most of my life. And it was really a throat chakra thing, which was about not speaking my truth. And so it kind of evolved from there. And I really trust her in her insight. And I spent most of the year of 2013 and a little bit towards the end of 2012 just being. I didn't really do externally a lot, but I was doing a lot of change, a lot of growth internally. And that was something that was timely for me. It was what I needed to do at that time. And it was really a big lesson for me around the value of being, as well as the evolving that I was going through at that time. But now I am at a place where I need to start doing again. And part of what Mark talked about today on the show really resonated for me, that, things don't change if we don't do something different. But even though it's time for me to kind of be out in the world and get out of my hermit's cave and start doing again, I'm still having a lot of things come up internally, a lot of growth opportunities for me, which can sometimes be called challenges. And so I've been spending a lot of time and energy working on those things. And when I saw Alicia, who is my acupuncturist, I don't know, maybe a week or 10 days ago, I was, she's asking me about what's going on, what I want to work on. I see her about once a month. And I was sharing with her what was going on, and she says to me, well, at least with you, it's never boring because there is always stuff going on with me. And, I said to her, I feel like I need to get all of this shift and change and growth to slow down a little bit so that I can get to the rest of my life. And what she said is that, well, there is no rest of your life. It's all your life, and you need to be able to do this work as well as live your life. And she said that, and it really made me kind of sit back and go, yeah, there is something to that. And, I feel like last year in 2013, it was kind of like I was a monk in a monastery where all I was focusing on was my spiritual growth. And now I'm coming back out into the world, and I have to learn to continue walking my spiritual path while I'm doing the ordinary things of life that are necessary. And it reminded me of that. I think it's a Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. It was just a reminder that there are things in our life that we have to take care of and do just as part of living in the world. And so to that end, what I did, and I mentioned this earlier when I was talking to Mark too, is I went back to having a routine and a schedule like I had earlier in my life. And by earlier in my life, I mean a year and a half ago, up until, probably a year ago. And when I went into this hermit's cave a year ago, I just kind of went with whatever came. And that was what I needed to do for that time. But now I need to go back to, okay, these are definitely areas I want to focus on each day. And both in a spiritual realm, in the spiritual practices that feed me and support me and lead me down the path I'm supposed to go, as well as in regular life, like my business, like my friends, like my family, all those other things that are not about my spirituality. So if you think that this is something that might be of use to you, because this can go either way, we can be heavy on the spiritual piece focus like I am right now, or we can be heavy on the quote unquote real life and being too light on the spiritual side. So if you think you might be out of balance, here's what you can do. The first thing is to ask yourself if you're out of balance. And as I said, it can go either way. Do you feel like you're getting enough in your life that feeds your soul? And do you feel like you're engaged in life? So both things. And if you feel like you're light on the spiritual side, decide what it is that really makes you feel grounded, that gives you inspiration, that gets you in touch with spirit in whatever form you look at that. And some of the things that I do around this are things like meditation, inspirational reading, journaling, practices like EFT or access consciousness or writing intentions, exercise, and having a spiritual community. And decide how much you need of each of those things on a daily basis. The other thing is decide what real life activities you need to do on a daily basis. And for most of you who have a real job, working would be at the top of the list. You have to show up at work. Spending time with family and friends, the daily chores that we all have to do, things like housework and shopping and taking care of our kids if we have kids, and whatever else are things that need to be done. And take both of those things and create a schedule for yourself of what your ideal day would look like, incorporating both the spiritual piece and the practical piece. And write out your schedule. And this, I did this for myself in actually, how many minutes am I going to spend each day on these things? And then I plugged it into, in general, kind of what time frame am I going to do them? When I first get up in the morning, what am I going to do? Then what am I going to do next? What am I going to do in the afternoon? What am I going to do in the evening? And that's a way that you can bring some more balance to your life.